Jai Hind दोस्तों, as you have seen many times in movies or real footage from news channels, military jets deploy flame-type materials rapidly. Some of you may know about this, but I guess many people may not be familiar with the details of these fast-throwing flammable objects known as flares. Today we are diving into the usage of chaff and flare countermeasures in aerial defense, exploring what it is all about and the situations in which military pilots deploy them. This is Prajesh and you are watching AirPra. The concept of using this technique developed during World War II as an independent creation, initially in the United Kingdom and Germany, and subsequently in the United States and Japan. Each country developed it to meet its requirements. Based on their improved versions, which evolved over decades, this technique came into massive effect following the origins of radar homing and infrared homing missiles. In the 21st century, this technique is paramount in countering the final stage of any incoming missiles. Chaff, formerly known as window in its early days, is a radar countermeasure utilized to confuse and disrupt enemy radar systems. It comprises small, lightweight strips or particles of aluminum-coated material, metallized glass fiber or plastic released into the air from aircraft or ground-based platforms. Upon deployment, dispersed chaff produces a large radar cross-section intended to blind or disrupt enemy radar systems, creating false targets and obscuring the actual location and identity of aircraft or military assets. Originally developed during World War II, chaff became a crucial defensive tool for Allied forces, particularly in strategic bombing campaigns. Modern military forces use chaff to distract active radar homing missiles from their targets. By generating a cloud of radar reflections, chaff can effectively deceive enemy radar-guided weapons and tracking systems, thereby increasing the survivability of aircraft and reducing the accuracy of enemy targeting. Mostly when a long-range missile is detected by missile approach warning systems, either on aircraft or warships, chaff is one of the countermeasure techniques used to deceive the incoming missile. Modern chaff systems have evolved to include advanced materials and deployment techniques, enhancing their effectiveness against sophisticated radar systems. Additionally, ballistic missiles are designed to release chaff during their mid-course phase, along with other penetration aids, so they can reach their designated targets without being hit by anti-ballistic missiles. Military aircraft and warships are mostly equipped with chaff dispensing systems for self-defense. Chaff remains an essential component of electronic warfare strategies, providing valuable protection for military assets operating in contested airspace. Flare countermeasures are defensive measures employed by military aircraft and vehicles to evade heat-seeking missiles. These countermeasures typically involve the deployment of pyrotechnic flares that emit intense heat and light, diverting the intention of infrared-guided missiles away from the targeted aircraft. When an aircraft detects an incoming heat-seeking missile threat, it deploys flares which ignite rapidly upon exposure to air. The intense heat and bright light emitted by the flares create a decoy target, diverting the missile from the aircraft and allowing it to evade destruction. Flares commonly consist of a pyrotechnic composition based on materials such as magnesium or other hot-burning metals, with a burning temperature equal to or higher than engine exhaust. The objective is to lure the infrared-guided missile towards the heat signature from the flare rather than the aircraft's engines. Flare countermeasures are highly effective against infrared-guided surface-to-air missiles or air-to-air missiles, which home in on the heat emitted by aircraft engines or other hot surfaces. They are a critical component of aircraft survivability systems, providing a means of last self-defense against infrared-guided threat encountered in combat situations. Modern flare systems may also incorporate advanced electronic sensors and dispensing mechanisms to optimize their effectiveness and enhance aircraft survivability. One more thing which is very vital in the context of all my videos: to get more details and a clear understanding of each military topic, you should definitely log into AirPra.com. The decoying process of flares involves the aircraft deploying them in response to an incoming heat-seeking missile threat. Once released, the flares ignite, burning at thousands of degrees Celsius and producing a sudden burst of intense heat and light. This emission serves as a decoy target, diverting the missile's guidance systems away from the aircraft's actual heat sources such as engines or exhausts. As modern infrared missile seekers become more advanced, with spectral sensitivity tailored to closely match aircraft emissions and reject other sources, known as CCM or countermeasures. Hence, to counter modernized decoy flares also optimize their emission spectrum to match the radiation of the aircraft, mainly its engine exhaust. Chaff consists of small, lightweight strips of particles of aluminum-coated glass fiber material released into the air to confuse and disrupt enemy radar systems. It reflects radar signals, creating false targets and obscuring the actual location and identity of the aircraft or military assets. Chaff is effective against radar-guided missiles and tracking systems. Flares are pyrotechnic devices deployed to evade heat-seeking missiles. When an aircraft detects an incoming heat-seeking missile threat, it releases flares, emitting intense heat and light to divert infrared-guided missiles away from the targeted aircraft. In summary, Chaff confuses radar systems, while flares distract infrared-guided missiles, providing aircraft or warships with two distinct and final defensive capabilities against incoming threats. Okay then, this is all about getting a general idea of the chaff and flare countermeasure techniques. I believe now you can easily tell the difference between flares and chaff if you see them in any movie or news clip. In the next video, I will try to make one about different types of speed, from subsonic to hypersonic. But for that, I need some fuel. So I'm requesting you to like, subscribe and share my videos as well. Until then, take care, stay updated and bye-bye.